गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय हरिराम संकीर्तन की श्री श्री राधा गोपीनाथ भगवान की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to this most auspicious and most blessed festival of Shri Shri Radha Ashtami. And I'm speaking here based on this garland. Yes. So in our temple, this garland that is offered by Radharani to Gopinath in the Mangala Arati. After Mangala Arati, it comes out and is given to the speaker. So this is by saving grace. And I dare not remove this garland from my neck for the next 90 minutes. Till 10:30. So this is, please watch out for this garland. If it becomes loose, tell me, I'll put it on again. We are reading from Canto 3, Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 15, titled Description of the Kingdom of God. And shloka number 42. Atropasrishtamiti chotsmitamindriya स्वानां धिया विरचितं बहुशौष्ठवाढ्यम् मह्यं भवस्य भवतां च भजन्तमङ्गम् नेमो निरीक्षण वितृप्त दृशो मुदाकै अत्रोपसृष्टमिति चोत्स्मितमिन्द्रिया स्वानां धिया विरचितं बहुशौष्ठवाढ्यम् मह्यं भवस्य भवतां च भजन्तमङ्गम् नेमुर्निरीक्षण वितृप्त दृशो मुदाकै अत्रोपसृष्टमिति चोत्स्मितमिन्द्रिया स्वानां धिया विरचितं बहुशौष्ठवाढ्यम् मह्यं भवस्य भवतां च भजन्तमङ्गम् नेमुर्निरीक्षण वितृप्त दृशो मुदाकै चोत्स्मितमिन्द्रिया विरचितं बहुशौष्ठवाढ्यम् भवस्य भवतां च भजन्तमङ्गम् त्रोपसृष्टमिति चोत्स्मितमिन्द्रिया स्वानां धिया विरचितं बहुशौष्ठवाढ्यम् मह्यं भवस्य भवतां च भजन्तमङ्गम् निरीक्षण माताजी's अत्रोपसृष्टमिति चोत्स्मितमिन्द्रिया स्वानां धिया विरचितं बहुशौष्ठवाढ्यम् मह्यं भवस्य भवतां च भजन्तमङ्गम् नेमुर्निरीक्षण वितृप्त दृशो मुदाकै. We'll read word to word translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Kindly repeat after me. Atra, here in the matter of beauty. Upasrishtam, curved down. Iti, thus. Cha, and. Utsmitam, the pride of her beauty. Indriyaha, of the goddess of fortune. Is Indiraya of the goddess of fortune. Swanam, of his own devotees. Dhiya, by intelligence. Virachitam, meditated on. Bahu Shaushthavadhyam, very beautifully decorated. Mahyam, of me. Bhavasya, of Lord Shiva. Bhavatam, of all of you. Cha, and. Bhajantam, worshipped. Angam, the figure. Nemu, bowed down. Niriksha, after seeing. Na, not. Vitripta, satiated. Drisha, eyes. Muda, joyously. Kaihi, by their heads. Translation. This is Lord Brahma speaking to the Devatas. The exquisite beauty of Narayan, being many times magnified by the intelligence of his devotees, was so attractive that it defeated the pride of the goddess of fortune in being the most beautiful. My dear demigods, the Lord who thus manifested himself is worshipable by me, by Lord Shiva, and by all of you. The sages regarded him with unsated eyes and joyously bowed their heads at his lotus feet. Purport. So this purport is a very revealing purport. Please listen very attentively. Srila Prabhupada's words. The beauty of the Lord was so enchanting that it could not be sufficiently described. The goddess of fortune is supposed to be the most beautiful sight within the spiritual and material creations of the Lord. She has a sense of being the most beautiful, yet her beauty was defeated when the Lord appeared. In other words, the beauty of the goddess of fortune is secondary in the presence of the Lord. In the words of Vaishnava poets, it is said that the Lord's beauty is so enchanting that it defeats hundreds of thousands of cupids. He is therefore called Madan Mohan. Now is the twist. It is also described that the Lord sometimes becomes mad after the beauty of Radharani. Poets describe that under those circumstances, although Lord Krishna is Madan Mohan, he becomes Madan Daha, or enchanted by the beauty of Radharani. Actually, the Lord's beauty is super excellent, surpassing even the beauty of Lakshmi in Vaikuntha. The devotees of the Lord in the Vaikuntha planets want to see the Lord as the most beautiful. But, the big but, the devotees in Gokul or Krishna Loka want to see Radharani as more beautiful than Krishna. The adjustment is that the Lord, being Bhakta Vatsal, or one who wants to please his devotees, assumes such features so that his devotees like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and other demigods may be pleased. Here also, for the devotee sages, the Kumaras, the Lord appeared in his most beautiful feature, and they continued to see him without satiation and wanted to continue seeing him more and more. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So welcome everyone to this special Radha Ashtami festival, seeking the blessings of every single devotee seated here to glorify Srimati Radharani. It's almost impossible, but under the instructions of devotees, we're sitting here trying to repeat what we have heard from devotees, Srila Prabhupada, read in books by Acharyas. Srila Prabhupada does not speak much about Radharani. In one Radha Ashtami festival class, Srila Prabhupada speaks the glories of Krishna for almost 1 hour. And the last 2 minutes he says, this Krishna is the most dearest person of Srimati Radharani. So the whole class is not about Radharani, the whole class is about Lord Krishna. And he speaks the glories of Lord Krishna. At the end, he just connects it to Radharani. So probably the audience that was sitting in front of Srila Prabhupada felt, was not fit. Here the audience is fit, but the speaker is not fit. But still we'll try something based on whatever our acharyas have spoken. So we just now saw from the 3rd canto, and here Lord Brahma was saying that Lord Narayan is more beautiful than Goddess Lakshmi, although Lord Goddess Lakshmi is the most beautiful person. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is a Vrajvasi, so he immediately gave us that small extra mercy information that it may be in Vaikuntha planets. But as far as Gokul or Krishna Loka is considered, then Radharani is more beautiful than Lord Krishna. So in this way, the most intelligent person, our body is made up of Panchadhatu, Bhumi, Rapa, Analo, Vayu, Kham. How is Lord Brahma's body made? Lord Brahma's body is fully made up of intelligence. Our Sukshma Sharir, our subtle body is made up of Man, Buddhi, Ahankar. But Brahmaji's entire body is made up of intelligence. So how intelligent is he? But even he is unable to understand what happens in Krishna Loka. So when Brahmaji visited Vrindavan, there also his intelligence or his understanding got upgraded. In Vrindavan, he saw that the wild animals there, the tiger, the lion, the deer and all, they were embracing each other in love. So the 10th canto, 14th chapter, Lord Brahma is offering his prayers and he says, Yatra Naisarga Durvaira Sahasan Nr Mrigadaya Mitrani Iva Ajita Vasa Trut Darshanadikam. So he says, Naisargik hai, it's natural that Nara, human being, and Mrigadaya, and the animals there, they have a natural enmity throughout the world. But he says, although it is Naisargik in the whole universe, but in Vrindavan, Mitrani Iva Ajita Vasa, where the Supreme Lord Krishna stays, these natural enemies live like Mitrani Iva. And in this holy land of Vrindavan, there is no thirst, there is no hunger. If you're in that mood of Krishna consciousness, then, while Katha is going on, while Kirtan is going on, we actually forget our thirst, our hunger. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, Vrindavan is such a nice place. He says, we have seen how some Vrajavasis, they maintain cows. And when they milk the cows, then sometimes they call a tiger. This Prabhupada's words, 13th chapter. Says, they call the tiger and say, Tiger, please take some milk. And the tiger comes there. And I remember one time we were on a yatra with His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj and we were near Mor Kutir. And there the local sadhu, he mentioned one katha that long time back, there was a Babaji who used to stay at Mor Kutir in Varsana. And he had a tiger disciple. And this tiger disciple, he would do bhiksha for the Babaji. So they would put some kind of a jhola around his neck. And this tiger would go around for bhiksha. And I don't think anybody refused him for bhiksha. Not out of fear, out of love, out of astonishment. And then he would carry that bhiksha back to the Babaji. So I still remember that story. And Srila Prabhupada says, sometimes when we go to Vrindavan, the monkeys of Vrindavan, they steal away something. And sometimes some people get irritated by that. How many of you got irritated in Vrindavan when the monkey stole away something? So this is a correction from Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada says actually, the monkeys of Vrindavan are saying, all the food in Vrindavan is not only for human beings, it is for us also. Because it is Krishna's land. So Krishna is the father, and father wants to give to all children. Yes, all of you. So he says, because it is Krishna's land, in Vrindavan, the monkeys are saying, what you have in your hand, you had enough. So it belongs to me, and that's why they take. So we should not get disturbed when the monkeys steal in the holy land of Vrindavan. Jai Hari Bol. Not many said Hari Bol. I know you don't want to share with the monkeys. Anyway, Prabhupada is saying like that. And this Brahma, who is made up of intelligence, could not understand the exquisite beauty of Radharani, how it scores above the beauty of Lord Krishna. And he could not understand how Naisargika Durvaira, how they could be like Mitrani Iva Jita Vasa. And did he understand Krishna also properly? He thought Krishna is an ordinary cowherd boy. And he wanted to test Krishna. And Krishna completely bewildered him with his 4 heads full of intelligence. He could not understand Krishna. So this is Vrindavan, and this is how it's very difficult to understand. Vrindavan, Krishna, Radharani. So we need a lot of mercy when we are sitting here. If Brahmaji cannot understand, who are we? We are nobody. So Lord Brahma, in one of his prayers to Lord Krishna, he says, Athapi te deva padambujadvaya prasadaleshanugrihita evahi janati tattvam bhagavan mahimno nachanya chiropi chiram vichinvan. He says, Athapi te deva padambujadvaya. Oh my dear Lord Krishna, you have 2 feet which are like the lotuses. But if somebody receives prasada lesha, lava matra, lesha matra, if somebody receives a small trace of mercy, janati tattvam bhagavan mahimno, then only he can understand you. Prabhupada would speak in simple English language in one of his lectures. He says, you cannot see the sun on your own with a torchlight in your hand. When the sun reveals itself, then you can see the sun by the mercy of the sun. In complete darkness, these eyes are completely useless. We cannot see in our own hand in darkness. But when the sun illuminates itself, the sun illuminates us, and the sun illuminates the world around us. So we are so much dependent on the sun. And Prabhupada would use this example. So Brahmaji is saying, unless we receive the mercy of Lord Krishna, it's not possible to understand Lord Krishna. So how do we know Krishna? What is our primary relationship with Krishna? Lord Chaitanya, in one of his the thoughts that he has in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, he says, Chari bhavi bhakti diya nachamu tribhuvan. There are 5 primary rasas, Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya and Madhurya. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he has come here, he says, Chari bhava bhakti diya nachamu tribhuvan. I have come here to distribute the 4 rasas. So technically there are 5 rasas, and Lord Chaitanya is saying 4 rasas. Why? But Lord Chaitanya does not count the Shanta ras. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, Shanta ras is not actually a relationship ras. If we want to form a relationship with Krishna, it has to start minimum with dasya. Shanta ras means some jiva is just standing at a distance, and from a distance he is just observing Krishna. Oh, Krishna is so beautiful. But there is no relationship, there is no reciprocation with Krishna. And dasya means Krishna is so great, Krishna is so nice, Krishna is so kind. I want to offer something to Krishna, little bit, to begin with. So Lord Chaitanya is saying it begins with dasya. It means our relationship with Lord Krishna does not begin with Shantaras. Our relationship with Lord Krishna begins with minimum Dasaras. And then Sakhya, Vatsalya, and then Madhurya is always there. So if we really want to receive the mercy of Krishna, it has to be based on service. So the Supreme Lord will reveal his glories, will reveal who he is, his land of Vrindavan. What was the fault of Brahmaji? Brahmaji's fault is Brahmaji entered. In English, there is a word called gate crashed. You know this word? There's some function going on and you're not invited to it, but you want to be a part of it. So you just forcibly enter. That is called gate crashing. So Brahmaji, in one sense, was not invited to Vrindavan because he didn't have a proper understanding of service. Did Lord Brahma enter Vrindavan out of his service attitude? Lord Brahma entered Vrindavan to test Krishna. He wants to test Krishna. That is opposite of service. So because Lord Brahma entered Vrindavan with an attitude that is opposite, there is a clashing with the attitude of Vrindavan, it was a complete puzzle to him. And whereas you and me, although we are Kanamatra, we are ordinary living entities, but if we are blessed with this right understanding of service attitude, if you and me enter Vrindavan with service attitude, we can get that understanding which Brahmaji with his body made up of intelligence, his 4 heads full of intelligence did not get. It's all a question of having the right understanding. How many of you have seen solar panels? Solar panels, are they kept at any angle in any direction? So it's very interesting. Depending on which part of the globe you are, the solar panels will be kept at an angle, never in the east or west direction. They'll always be in the north or the south direction. And the sun will travel from east to west. So the arrangement, the angle and everything is kept in such a way that maximum sun rays will fall on the solar panel. So if you have a solar panel and you put it facing the east direction, most probably you will receive sunlight only till the noon time. After noon time, gone. If you put it keeping the west, after noon. So just to keep the solar panels properly and receive maximum sunlight is an art. What to speak of having the right attitude and receiving the maximum grace from Krishna, Surya Sama. So from the Supreme Lord Krishna, if you want to receive grace, we have to have the proper attitude. That proper attitude is service attitude. And if we have that right attitude, Krishna will be revealed to us. So in Vidagdha Madhav is a play written by Srila Rupa Goswami. There is one verse which mentions this evening time. Generally in India, it's called Godhuli time. And Krishna and the cows are returning from the forest towards Vrindavan. And the gopis are waiting the whole day to take darshan of Krishna. And when Krishna is returning with the cows, because of the hooves of the cows, so much dust is raised. So it's almost like a cloud of dust. And in that cloud of dust, Krishna is not visible. 9 lakh cows. Krishnas, and then some other cows. So in that huge chunk of cows and there's so much dust that is raised, Krishna is not visible. So then it is mentioned all the gopis, they got on the roofs of their own homes and they raised their necks like this. So this is called kantha in Sanskrit. And when you want to see somebody, you raise your kantha like this. What is called in Sanskrit? Utkantha. In Marathi also there is Utkantha. So Utkantha means when you raise your kantha to see. And so all the gopis are looking at the cloud of dust. And in between that cloud of dust, because Krishna was playing his flute, so they could understand Krishna is there somewhere hidden there. The pitambar dhoti of Krishna was moving because of the walking and the wind. And some of the sun rays, they fell on the silk yellow dhoti of Krishna that is waving in the wind. And because of that, in the clouds, there was a semblance of lightning. So Ghanasham sometimes is compared to the cloud, but here Ghanasham's dress is considered or compared to lightning. And the gopis, because they have Utkantha and they're looking at the cloud, in between there are some streaks of light. So the streaks of light tell the gopis that there Krishna is there. And wait, very soon Krishna, when he comes close, then when the cows slow down, then the dust will settle and they will see Krishna. So the acharyas, they give a purport to this. They say similarly, the Vedas are immense store of knowledge. And this immense store of knowledge can be compared to this cloud of dust. Krishna is there, but you cannot see him very easily. Krishna is there in the Vedas. Is he there? Vedaham samatitani. Krishna is saying, Vedescha sarvair ahameva vedyo. So Krishna is saying, Vedescha sarvair ahameva vedyo. By all the Vedas I am to be known. And how many Pandits there are who know all the Vedas, but they don't know Krishna. It's very rare. Shukracharya is the greatest Vedic Pandit. And Shukracharya knows everything about the Vedas. And he's advising Bali Maharaj, you did not speak Om. And because you did not speak Om, you still can withdraw your promise. And he mentioned some Shruti called Bhavrat Shruti. And he says, Bhavrat Shruti में क्या लिखा है? जब तक आप ओम नहीं बोलते हैं, तभी तक आपने जो शपथ ली है, वो देना जरूरी नहीं है. आपने ओम नहीं बोला, withdraw कर लीजिए. मत दीजिए उनको. So he's a huge Pandit. He knows everything. But Vedaischa sarvair ahame vedyo. Similarly, the gopis are mentioning in this cloud, I know there is Krishna. But because Krishna is not clearly visible, Then how did the gopis see Krishna? Utkantha. So all of us also, we may read Bhagavatam, we may read Chaitanya Charitamrita, we may need all the books and we may need all other books also. But if we don't have that eagerness, if we are not willing to mold ourselves like the proper solar panel, then the dust cloud of the hooves of the cows will completely shield Krishna, will not be able to see Krishna. So Krishna is there, but he's not visible. Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad are standing next to each other. And Hiranyakashipu is saying, where is Krishna? And Prahlad is saying, where is not Krishna? कहाँ है कृष्णा? और बाजू में वो खड़ा है, वो बोल रहा है कहाँ नहीं है. तो यहाँ भी है, वहाँ भी है. So it's very interesting how two people standing next to each other, one cannot see Krishna at all, and one is saying, don't you see Krishna everywhere? So it means the onus is on us. In the Krishna book, chapter 87, it is mentioned, this is a verse, this is a chapter where Vedas personified glorify Krishna. And the Vedas are saying, actually, we also want to serve you. Everyone is serving Krishna. Brahmaji is serving Krishna. Shivji is serving Krishna. The Gandharvas, the Kinnaras, everyone is serving Krishna. The Vedas are saying, we also want to serve you. And they say, our service is to carry information about you to the jivas. In this way, they are proposing to Krishna, please give us some mercy. We are also serving you. But it's not easy, right? Vedeshu durlabham. So many Vedas, so much knowledge, but it is durlabham. So what is missing is adurlabham atma bhakto. Brahmaji is saying, Vedas carry information about Krishna, but it is very durlabh. But those who are dear devotees of Krishna, they can give Krishna very easily. In Canto 5, chapter 18, this is the chapter where the residents of Jambudvip are offering prayers to the Supreme Lord. So this is the section, shloka number 17 onwards, where on one particular planet, Ketumal Varsha, Lakshmi Devi is offering prayers to Lord Vishnu who stays there. And in that particular section, in one verse, she is addressing the Supreme Lord as Maya Mayam. And this Maya, usually for us, Maya is Mahamaya. That Maya that distances us from Krishna. But there's another Maya called Yoga Maya that pulls us closer to Krishna. So on this word Maya Mayam, different acharyas have taken that word and they have highlighted that word. So Srila Prabhupada says, in Marathi also sometimes they say, Ya aichi mulanvar maya hai khub. It's a very common saying in Marathi. So Maya means love. So Srila Prabhupada takes and says, mother is very affectionate to children. So mother sometimes is said to have Maya for children. Srila Jiva Goswami, he says, here Maya Mayam means Kripa Prachuram. Prachuram means abundant. So why is Krishna called as Maya Mayam? Because he has abundant mercy. Srila Veera Raghav Acharya, he mentions, actually, when there is intimate relationships between two people, then only there is Maya, then there is affection. So why is Krishna called as Maya Mayam in this shloka? Because he has intimate relationship with the jivas. And he wants to save the jivas. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he takes this word Maya Mayam and breaks it into two words. He says Maya and he says Amayam. Amaya means disease. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, why is Krishna called Maya Mayam? He says, because the living entities have a disease of envy towards Krishna. But the Supreme Lord has an intimate relationship with all the jivas, considering them sons and daughters. And he wants to remove that disease of envy. And how will he remove the disease of envy? By coming here personally, by sending his devotees and being very merciful on the living entities. So Maya Mayam looks like a very ordinary word, but Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is telling us it means the causeless mercy of the Lord for saving those who are envious of the Lord. So in Krishna book, chapter 87, we are talking about the prayers by the personified Vedas. There Srila Prabhupada writes, this prayer by the personified Vedas illustrates that Vedas are meant for helping the conditioned souls understand Krishna. All the Shrutis offered glories to the Lord again and again, singing Jai, Jai. And now, it's a very important sentence. This indicates that the Lord is most glorious. And of all his glories, the most important is his causeless mercy upon the conditioned souls in reclaiming them from the clutches of Maya. So Krishna has unlimited qualities. All those qualities are glorious, but the most glorious quality, according to Srila Prabhupada, is his quality of his causeless mercy, where he wants to save us. So this mercy quality, this is the quality that we are going to focus on today. And without this mercy quality, all of us sitting here, we do not have a hope. What did Narad Muni do with Nalkuvar and Mani Grieve when he saw them enjoying in an improper way in Mandakini Ganga? Even on the earth planet, Ganga is a very holy river. And this is Mandakini Ganga, Ganga that flows in the Swarga Loka. And Kuvera has his two sons, and they know everything. What is right, what is wrong, what is Ganga, what is not Ganga, and what were they doing in Ganga? They were not doing something which is very good. So what did Narad Muni do? Narad Muni cursed them to become trees. So you want to stand without clothes, so you become trees. And one senior devotee one time was saying, I pray that Narad Muni does not come in the 21st century on this planet. Yes. And then he was saying how suddenly when Narad Muni comes, and we want to hear Narada Muni, Bajai Veena, and suddenly you see all around me is a forest. What happened to forest? Yes. So suddenly everyone becomes a tree, yes? So almost, not dressed properly. So, you see, from one perspective, purity has one limitation. Purity cannot stand impurity. If somebody is very pure, it's very difficult to stand impurity. If you are a very scholarly person, if you are a very educated person, everything is good. But there will be one limitation. You cannot stand ignorance. मतलब कोई अगर scholar है और उससे बात करने के लिए कोई भोंदू आ गया, simpleton, not having much brain, but just going on sincerely serving, it will be very difficult for an intelligent person to have a good standing conversation with a dull-witted person, is it not? So, from that perspective, if you see, if Krishna did not have this most glorious quality of causeless mercy, where would we stand? So Shishupal, at least has a good background of being Jaya and Vijay. And he's just enacting a Leela in that sense, where he's just constantly cursing Krishna. And then, yes, we know in that Leela that Krishna killed him. What about us? We have more envy than Shishupal, and we don't even have a good background like Shishupal. So what is keeping us in devotional service? Is it our own sadhana? Is it our own shravan? Is it our vachan? Is it our seva? What is it going on? Actually, the only thing that is saving us is this Krishna's quality of being unlimitedly merciful, or kripa shakti. In the Ramayana, if you see, Sita Devi represents kripa shakti in Ramayana. So, two personalities, they attacked Ram and Sita Devi. So when Shurpanakha wanted to enjoy Ramchandra alone minus Sita. And Ravan wanted to enjoy Sita Devi alone minus Ram. So both of them have their fault as per their own body. So when Shurpanakha attacked Lord Ramchandra, what happened to Shurpanakha? Was she killed? Her crime is the same as Ravan's crime. She wants to separate Purusha and Prakriti. Antaranga Shakti and Purusha, she wants to separate. So the crime of Ravan and Shurpanakha is the same, but Shurpanakha escaped only with her nose and ears cut. You know why? Because Sita Devi is standing there. When that incident is happening, Sita Devi... So in the presence of Kripa Shakti, the person who gives justice cannot give justice. He has to be causelessly merciful. And in the Ravana Sangram, was Sita Devi present there? Unfortunately, Ravan had captured her and hid her in Ashoka Vatika. And on the battlefield of Lanka, Sita Devi is not present. And because of the absence of Sita Devi, Ravan had to face death. So just see how Kripa Shakti is very important. In the pastimes of Srimati Radharani, we have heard from His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj in Govardhan Parikrama, when you come to that Malyahari Kund is where the Jagannath temple is there, and when you go a little bit ahead of Jagannath temple, and just before Radha Kund village starts, on the left side there is a Malyahari Kund, And there, Maharaj would indicate in the fields, and he would say, this place is called Siva Khor. Siva in Vraj language means a jackal. And there is a story that around Radharani's time, there was a jackal who was captured by the Vrajavasi children while playing. And they made some hole in the ground and bet the jackal with sticks. And the jackal, to escape all this beating, went inside the hole. And some of those kids, in fun, they put some sticks on the hole where the jackal could come out if it wanted to, and put it on fire. And all the smoke from the fire was going inside the hole, and the jackal was crying. Jackal was trapped. Now, of all the animals, the one animal which is never kept a pet, because I have seen dogs kept as pets, obviously, in Indian culture, cows, buffaloes, sometimes goats, sometimes, some rich people, I have seen pictures, they have kept lions and tigers as pets. Have you seen any pictures like that? I have seen pictures where monkeys are kept as pets. I never saw a jackal kept as a pet. A low creature, always hunts in packs, does not have the courage to hunt alone. And very treacherous, very duplicitous animal. So usually, jackal will not get the mercy of anybody. But when the jackal was whining and crying, that call for mercy was heard by Srimati Radharani, and Srimati Radharani immediately ran there and instructed those kids not to harm the jackal. She took those sticks away, and that very frightened and hurt jackal was so much indebted to Srimati Radharani, and that is how she was saved. So somebody like Shurpanakha is also like a jackal only, right? But she was saved because of Sita Devi. And this jackal was saved because of Srimati Radharani. So this is the causeless mercy of Srimati Radharani. In Tattva perspective, Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He has basically two types of energies, Antaranga Shakti and Bahiranga Shakti. Antaranga is internal energy, Bahiranga is external. Within the internal energy, there are two energies. One is the Jivatmas, Vibhinna Amsha. And the Jivatmas, because they're very tiny, very small, sometimes they can be overcome by the material energy, and sometimes they can be overcome by the internal energy. So sometimes these Jivas, although they are part of the internal energy, they're classified as Tatastha Shakti, because they can be overcome by both. And in the Antaranga Shakti, how many energies Krishna has? Unlimited energies. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate. And one of the primary energies that Lord Krishna has is his own energy that gives him pleasure, which is called Lahadini. Lahadini Shakti means the energy that gives pleasure to Krishna. So I was reading His Holiness Bhakti Purushottam Swami Maharaj's book on Srimati Radharani, and he mentions, we cannot put a date to this, because it's all eternal. Krishna and Radharani are all eternal, but he's saying, at one point of time, Krishna desired to enjoy. And Krishna is Parabrahma. So Parabrahma cannot enjoy within Brahma, right? He has to enjoy Tri Gunatit. So that's why from the left side of his body, his Lahadini Shakti separated and manifested in the form of a woman, in the form of Srimati Radharani. And in this way, Srimati Radharani and Krishna, they are always together, but they are inseparable from each other in terms of their relationship. So sometimes it is mentioned, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying, Ladhinira Sara Amsha Tara Premanam. What we call prema in this world is basically selfish infatuation. And prem, what is prem, is described here. Prem means with service for the person whom you are serving. So he's saying, Ladhinira Sara, this pleasure potency of Krishna, what is the essence of it? Tara Premanam. Ananda Chidmaya Rasa Premera Akyan. And when anybody describes this prema, it has to be done with spiritual ananda. Not ordinary person cannot describe the prema of Radha and Krishna. Ladhinira Sara Amsha Tara Premanam Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Premera Akyan Premera Paramasara Mahabhava Jani Sei Mahabhava Rupa Radha Thakurani. So Ladini is already very rare, and Ladini Rasar is prema, and Premera Paramasara Mahabhav. So this is getting condensed. Milk is getting condensed into basundi. Basundi is getting condensed to rabdi, becoming more and more sweeter and tastier and more attractive also to look at. Premera Paramasara Mahabhava Jani Sei Mahabhava Rupa Radha Thakurani. How does that Mahabhava, which is condensed prema, which is condensed Ladini, how does she look? Premer Mahabhava Rupa Radha Thakurani. This is how Radharani looks. So Srimati Radharani is that personality without whom Krishna cannot enjoy. And many times in the Puranas it is mentioned that you can get the mercy of Krishna only when you get the mercy of Srimati Radharani. There's one pastime which happened in a place called Koshi Van. So Krishna has come to meet Radharani, and Radharani is not ready to meet him because Krishna spent some time with another gopi. And he's saying, can I come inside? And Radharani is saying, Kaha asi. Kaha asi in Sanskrit means, who are you? So he says, I am Krishna. And Radharani says, Krishna also means a black snake. So Radharani says, oh, why are you here? Do you want to bite me? There is no place for you here. Go away from here. Then Krishna is saying, now how to enter? Then he says, Kaha asi. Then Krishna says, I am Ghansham. So, oh, you are a cloud who has come here. There is no place for you in my home. Don't muddy my courtyard. Yes? And there's no place for you. You go and shower your mercy on some fields. So now he's saying what to say. Kaha asi. Then he says, I am Chakri. So Chakri also means the potter. He has that wheel which goes around and then he makes pots. So that Chakri means the potter. Chakra jo chalata hai wo Chakri. So he says, I am Chakri. So Radharani says, there is no marriage in my home. So we don't need pots. You search out for some marriage function and you go and do what you want there. Then he says, Kaha asi. He says, I am Madhusudan. So Madhusudan means the bee. There are many bees on the altar. Did you see that? On the flowers there are these paper bees there. So I am Madhusudan. So Radharani says, oh, if you are a bee, then go and find different flowers in some another garden. At my home, there is no garden. I don't want to talk to you. Get lost. Like that. So, Krishna is so much dependent on Radharani for his pleasure. And it is mentioned, Radhika hayena Krishnera pranaya vikar swarupa shakti ladini namayahar. In another shloka which Prabhupada would often quote, it is mentioned, Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikriti Ladini Shaktir Asmat. Who is Radharani? Radha is Krishna Pranaya. Pranaya means prem, love. So Krishna Pranaya, the love of Krishna when it takes a form, Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikriti Ladini Shakti Rasman. So Radharani is basically a personified form of Krishna's causeless mercy, which we discussed in the initial part. Ladini Karaye Krishne Ananda Swadan Ladini Ra Dwara Kare Bhaktera Poshan. This Ladini Shakti is very nice Shakti. What does it do? Ladini Karaye Krishne Ananda Aswadan. Radharani gives a lot of ananda to Krishna. Then what about us? The same Ladini Ra Dwara Kare Bhaktera Poshan. The causeless mercy of Krishna, which gives ananda to Krishna, also nourishes all the devotees, and all of us are basically here in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness based on the mercy of Srimati Radharani. Srila Prabhupada is our founder Acharya, and Srila Prabhupada in his young days at his home, when any sadhu would visit, Gaur Mohan Day, the father of Srila Prabhupada, would often request all the sadhus, every day, every sadhu he would request, please bless that my son Abhay becomes a pure devotee of Srimati Radharani. So many prayers and so much mercy, and then Srila Prabhupada is carrying all that causeless mercy with him, and wherever he is going, he is establishing Vrindavan. And here we are benefiting from him. So, we saw Ananda Aswadan, and we'll see how Radharani does Bhaktera Poshan. So, this is a verse from Padma Puran, Canto 4, Chapter 1, Shloka number 31 and 32. Is mentioned. Who is a Vaishnava? What is the definition of a Vaishnava? Vedashastra Anurukta ye Tulsi Vana Palaka. Vedashastra Anurakta, those who regularly read and study the Vedic literature, and Tulsi Vana Palaka, and who take care of Tulsi Van. Radha Ashtami Vrata Rata Vigyayaste Cha Vaishnava, and those who follow Radha Ashtami Vrata. Is somebody happy? Oh. Hari Bol. So all of us who are, practicing Radha Ashtami Vrata, I was just checking if you are listening attentively. Now next line. This is also a very nice line. And this is hope giving for any one of you who has missed following Radha Ashtami Vrata. There is Damodar Vrata coming. This is the second month of Chaturmas. The fourth month of Chaturmas is Damodar. So the next line is like that. Shri Krishna Purato Yecha Deepam Yachanti Shraddhaya. श्री कृष्ण के सामने दीप जो श्रद्धा पूर्वक अर्पण करते हैं, पर निंदाम न कुर्वन्ति विज्ञेयस तेच वैष्णव, and those who never do ninda of others. So the fourth point is a struggle, but that is the first 3 points we can do. Regularly read the Vedic literature, take care of Tulsi, do Radhashtami Vrata, and do Damodar Vrata. So this is the definition of Vaishnav in Padma Puran. So this is how Ladini is taking care of all of us. This Radharani is the leader of all the gopis. And the primary quality of the gopis is the gopis, whatever they do it for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. And they don't have any selfish intention. So we'll just quickly read one shloka where Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is speaking about the glories of the gopis. Please count, I'm mentioning one item. Loka dharma, Veda dharma, Deha dharma, Karma, Lajja dhairya, Deha sukha, Atma sukha, Marma. So all of the different things the gopis gave up. Loka dharma, social culture. Veda dharma, Vedic culture. Deha dharma, taking care of their own body. Karma, their usual activities. Lajja, shame. Dhairya, patience. Deha sukha, sensual pleasure. Atma sukha marma, any kind of self-gratification. They have all given it up. Dustyaja arya patha nija parijana. Dustyaja arya patha means varnashram dharma. Without varnashram dharma, how will you survive? If we don't do our duties, how will the society work? If the students don't do what students are supposed to do, if the teachers don't do what teachers are supposed to do, if the husbands don't do what the husbands are supposed to do, if the wives don't do what the wives are supposed to do, if the brahmacharis don't know what the brahmacharis are supposed to do, if the sannyasis don't do what the sannyasis are supposed to do, if the grihasthas don't do what the grihasthas are supposed to do, how will society function? Yes. So we are all pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. Everyone, we have to take care of what is my position in the jigsaw puzzle of society, and we just do our part, and all the jigsaw puzzles pieces, they fit together, and a very beautiful picture of a very nice society comes out. But the gopis, they even gave up dustyaja arya patha nija parijana, and their own relatives also they gave up. A very beautiful shloka in the Vidagdha Madhav, it is mentioned. Lalita Devi is speaking to Krishna, and she's saying, you are like an ocean, and the river of Srimati Radharani has flown a long, long distance, giving up the husband, the tree of her husband, has given up the different hills of the social conventions, broken the bridges of social conventions, and has passed forcibly through so many hills of her own relatives. I'm reminded of the shloka where Kunti Devi is saying that Tvayi me ananya vishaya matir madhupate asakrit. The Ganga river is just flowing. Any obstacles on the path and Ganga river will flow. So Lalita Devi is comparing Radharani's dedication to Krishna to the Ganga river and is saying, क्या नहीं उन्होंने पार किया आपके सामने आने के लिए? And you are so mercilessly not looking at her. So this is the analogy that Lalita Devi is speaking. Dustyaja arya patha nija parijana svajane kare yata tadana bharsana. And sometimes the gopis, they were caught by their family members and they were even bet. And sometimes they were scolded with very harsh words. But the gopis, and the leader is Radharani, they never ever thought about their own selfishness. Sarva tyaga kari kare krishnera bhajana Krishna sukha hetu kare prema sevana. Krishna sukha hetu kare prema sevana. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Charitamrita is describing that Lord Krishna wants to see the gopis. And the gopis think, today when we are going to meet Krishna, we want to be very beautiful so that Krishna will be happy. And they decorate themselves very nicely. And when Krishna sees the gopis like that, Krishna's happiness increases. Now the purpose of the gopis becoming more beautiful, decorating themselves, was Krishna's happiness. And if that is achieved, then they become very happy. And because they become happy, they become more beautiful. And because they become more beautiful, Krishna becomes more happy. And when Krishna becomes more happy, they become more beautiful. And in this way, there is a transcendental competition between the happiness of Krishna and the beauty of the gopis. So I remember one quote of His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. He says, usually we feel that love is about being a winner in a relationship. We think, when I win in a relationship, then it means that I have acquired some love, or that relationship is successful. But Maharaj was mentioning, actually love is about being conquered. Love is not about conquering, love is about being conquered. So Krishna is called Ajita. He cannot be conquered. But he, in one sense, is conquered by the Nirmal, the selfless, the pure service attitude of the gopis. So, what about us? How do we understand all this? Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, when he was there on the planet, there was one very scholarly caste Goswami. He was speaking on the Brahmara Gita. So Brahmara Gita is a section in the Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, when Uddhava was sent by Krishna with a letter. In his absence, he heard that the gopis are feeling a lot of separation. So he sent a letter. And when Radharani read the letter written by Krishna, giving false assurances that I will come, she felt great pain. And at that time, one Brahmara came there. And that Brahmara was having yellow body. So Krishna has a yellow dhoti and dark colored skin. So the Brahmara upper part of the body was also dark. So seeing the Brahmara, Srimati Radharani, in one sense, she's missing Krishna and she's reading the false assurances sent by Uddhava. So she starts talking to the Brahmara. And she's saying, oh Brahmara, are you cheating me? So actually the intention is that she is thinking about Krishna. That, oh Krishna, you're cheating me, and like that. So there was this one caste Goswami who was speaking on this Brahmara Gita in Kalia, Navadvip. And this news came to Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. So 2-3 days later, one person came and he was glorifying that speaker. And he was saying, oh, there is so much new information about Radha and Krishna in those lectures. And Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj said, many times when rain comes, the weeds grow fast. And he said, actually the seeds that you have planted, it takes a lot of time to grow. So he said, when an unauthorized person speaks on Radha Krishna Leela, the weeds of lust will grow in your heart. And actually we should deal with Radha Krishna Leela very carefully. And unless we are hearing in the proper parampara, we should not hear Radha Krishna's intimate, loving pastimes, amorous pastimes. And then he said, who is the right speaker to speak on the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna? He said, only somebody who is sincere and he is a true servant of Guru and Vaishnavas. And then that person, he heard this, but then he was not really agreeing. And he said, when this caste Goswami was speaking about Radha Krishna Leela, many people in the audience, they had tears in their eyes. And some of them in ecstasy, they were saying, hey Radhe, hey Krishna. And Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, he said, this kind of unauthorized katha will ruin society. He was saying, please do not hear that katha. And he said, that speaker or the people who in between the katha started chanting, hey Radhe, hey Krishna, out of ecstasy, he said, check with them if they are able to give up their material association and let them come to Navadvip and take shelter of unpretentious bhajan. It means, are they willing to follow the regulative principles? And Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj said, After 1 year of unpretentious bhajan, I will come to know whether this speaker actually spoke Krishna Katha or he just reignited lust in everyone's heart. So when we are thinking about the gopis and Radharani and Krishna, we have to be very careful that we don't go into unauthorized areas. We can speak about some pastimes of Radha Krishna because today is Radha Ashtami. Other days we don't speak about this, but we have to be very careful. So we'll speak about the gopis a little bit, that the gopis are giving up Loka Dharma, Veda Dharma, Deha Dharma and all this. So are they foolish? Are they not intelligent? There is a section called Venu Gita also. Just like there is Gopi Gita, there is Brahmara Gita and there is Venu Gita. So what is Venu Gita? Venu Gita is where all the gopis, they see the constant companion of Krishna, the flute. And at one point of time, because they do not get association of Krishna, they start talking to themselves about the flute. And what do they talk? First they say, see, all of us now, we have a strong objection to the close proximity of the flute to Krishna's lips. Why? Adhara Sidhuna Pyaya Yasvana. Adhara means the lips and Sidhu means Amrit. So there's a lot of Amrit in Gopinath's lips. How many of you have tasted? No? You ate Mahaprasad, right? Today also is Mahaprasad. So please be careful that when you take Mahaprasad today, it contains the nectar from Gopinath's lips. Yes? So the gopis are saying the flute has such close proximity to Krishna's lips and they have stolen, the flute has stolen nectar, that's our property. We should get the nectar from lips of Krishna, and how come the flute is getting it? So we are envious of the flute and he cannot rob us. He's a thief. Then some gopi says, but actually, you know what? He's a male. We are female, so we want the nectar from Krishna's lips. But the flute is a male. So this is ayogya. This is inappropriate. What is he doing there? Then another gopi says, whatever it is, actually, the river is the mother of the flute. Because flute comes from bamboo. And bamboo grows on the banks of the river. So he's saying, whatever it is, finally, you know what? This flute is so lucky. The mother of the flute is the river, which gives birth to the bamboos. The mother must be really happy, na? My son is so close to Krishna. And they say, I also feel that the bamboo was broken from a bamboo tree, branch, right? So he said, the father, the trees on the river banks must also be very happy to see their descendant enjoy such a good fortune. So the gopis, they're missing Krishna and they are sometimes glorifying the flute and sometimes they're becoming envious of the flute, but the most important part is yet to come. Then they say that, oh, how many austerities this flute must have performed and how much pious activities he must have performed, how many places he must have visited and how many pious mantras he must have chanted to attain the proximity of Krishna's lips. Can we chant Hare Krishna mantra? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. And now, all this admiration for the flute changes to their feeling of the flute being a mischievous rival. How can he take? But whatever it is, he's fortunate, but what about us? We are unfortunate. Then one of the gopis says, actually, can we give clemency to the flute? Clemency means maafi. When some criminal is given some punishment, sometimes a capital punishment, and sometimes they go to the President of India. And the President of India has a right to forgive. So it's called clemency. So one of the gopis is saying, "Theek hai, yes, you are saying that we are unfortunate." And some gopis saying we should conspire against the flute and we should steal the flute away. So sometimes there are these pastimes where the gopis steal away the flute of Krishna. There's conspiracy. And one good gopi, she says, but can we award clemency to the flute? You know why? Because actually it is the flute that gives us information about where Krishna is. जो भी है, जैसा भी है, लेकिन जब बांसुरी बजती तभी तो पता चलता है कृष्णा उधर है. So I think we should give clemency. And one interesting thing is they keep talking amongst themselves like this, but they never ever go to Krishna and, complain seriously. It's all playful. But they never ever go and complain to Krishna, or they never become truly envious of Krishna. One is this emotional talk. Are Sakhi, aise kyun kiya? And Sakhi, tune aise kyun kiya? Like that. And one is serious. Yes. So there is jealousy in the heart, but it never manifests as envy in action. They never do anything against the flute. They never ever break the flute. There's no pastime where the gopis broke the flute of Krishna, right? So they keep talking how the flute is so dear to Krishna and how we are unfortunate and let's conspire against him and let's give clemency to him. But they never do that. You know why? Because in their own hearts, this is Krishna sukha hetu kare prema sevan. The gopis, whatever they do is only for Krishna sukha hetu. So they feel, finally, whatever is said and done, the flute is assisting Krishna. The flute is giving pleasure to Krishna. So why to hurt somebody who is giving pleasure to Krishna? So the gopis are very intelligent. So these gopis, do they understand that their love for Krishna, which is in one sense unwedded love, it is outside marriage. They are not officially married to Krishna. Do they understand that this kind of unwedded love is not good? They understand. They are very intelligent. In the Gopi Gita, I came out with some analogies. I read the Gopi Gita and I came out with analogies where sometimes we feel, these gopis, ye to anpad gawar hai. Sometimes somebody may feel like that. But you know what is a gopi? We know the word Gopaniya. Gopaniya means secret. So who are the gopis? The gopis are actually the highest devotees, and they are keeping their love for Krishna Gopaniya in their heart, and they pretend to be simple cowherd girls. On the altar, can you see the wood and gold there? Yes. Now what if we cover the gold part on the altar, or wherever you see, on Prabhupada's Vyasasana also there is gold. And suppose there is some talk about some thieves. And for some time, we cover the whole altar with some flowers. So on Prabhupada Vyas Puja, sometimes they cover the whole altar with flowers. And in one sense, you cannot see the gold. Did you have an experience sometimes? On the altar also, sometimes they do so much decoration. Like even if you see the 4 pillars in the front, they actually have gold leafing, but then now it's covered with Radha Naam and the flowers. So somebody who does not know, he does not know there is gold behind it. So what is Vrindavan? We feel Vaikuntha is Aishwarya and Vrindavan is Madhurya. But you know what? Madhurya is higher than Vaikuntha. So actually Vrindavan is Chintamani just like Vaikuntha. But on the Chintamani, they have put cow dung. The costliest marble. When you see that marble, you feel, oh, this is costly. And what if you take some cow dung and put on? You don't know this marble below. You feel, arey, ye to koi gaon mein aa gaya, ye to, this is just gobar. That gobar hides the true Aishwarya of Vrindavan. The ordinary turban of Krishna hides the Aishwarya of Krishna. The simple looking chunri of Srimati Radharani hides her opulence. So similarly, the gopis, they're actually very exalted devotees. And I'll tell you why. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was traveling to Sri Rangam, there was a very loving conversation between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Venkata Bhatta. Venkata Bhatta was a worshipper of Lakshmi Narayan. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu one day lovingly asked him, my dear Venkata Bhatta, Lakshmi Devi is the most chaste lady. And she is worshipable as a chaste lady. Venkata Bhatta said, yes. So my question is, why did the chaste lady Lakshmi Devi leave the association of Narayan and desire to associate with Krishna? So Venkata Bhatta said, Krishna and Narayan ek hi vyakti hai na? Same person. So is it a fault that Lakshmi leaves Narayan and goes to Krishna? Vishnu is Krishna in office and Krishna is Vishnu at home. So suppose, somebody's wife is a business partner and she usually sits next to the husband who also happens to be a business partner in the office. And one day she's tired and she comes home early and she associates with the same husband, the same business partner at home. Is it a loss of chastity? So Venkata Bhatta said, I didn't understand your question. Same person, so what is the problem? So Lord Chaitanya Prabhu said, yes, that's true. Now the question is, even though it is the same person, but she did not get entry into the Ras Leela of Krishna. Why so? ठीक है ना, एक ही व्यक्ति है, तो फिर रास लीला में प्रवेश क्यों नहीं मिला? So that time Venkata Bhatta raises his hand and he says, see, this Lord's pastimes are very deep and I am an ordinary person, I don't know, you explain. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then explains, actually, if you want to achieve the grace of Vrajendra Nandan Krishna, then you have to follow in the footsteps of the Vrajavasis. And he gives a very important understanding. He says, the Shruti Gana, the Upanishads, the Vedas, in a personified form, they also wanted to enter the Krishna Leela, especially the Ras Leela. And they understood that to enter a Ras Leela, we have to absorb the Vrajavasis mood. So they came to Vrindavan and they saw the mood of the gopis. And who are gopis? We just discussed 2 minutes back. The gopis seem to be very ordinary girls who never went to a Gurukul, who are not intelligent. But the Vedas, the source of all knowledge, Amnaya, they absorbed the mood of the gopis to associate with Krishna in Ras Leela. But still they were not allowed. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling Venkata Bhatta, the Vedas took birth in Vrajabhumi, took the bodies of gopis, and in this way they got a chance to associate with Krishna in Ras Leela. So the Vedas are also ready to give up the pride of being the source of all knowledge. And they're ready to take the form of a simple cowherd gopi who makes cow dung patties. Kaun kar raha hai? Ved kar raha hai. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentions Lakshmi Devi could not give up her mood of Aishwarya and she could not take cow dung in her own hands and she could not take the form of the simple cowherd girls of Vrindavan. And that is why Lakshmi Devi is still waiting outside Vrindavan in Belavan. Next time when you go to Vrindavan, there is the Keshi Ghat, and opposite Keshi Ghat is Belavan, where you can go to the temple and Lakshmi Devi is praying, and Kalia Nagapatnis are saying, Kasya anubhavo nasya deva vidmahe tavangri renu sparashadhikara. Saying, the Nagapatnis are saying, Hamara ye jo Kalia hai, he hurt the cows, the gopas also died when they drank the water from Yamuna. Kasyanu bhavona asya deva vidmahe. We don't know what fortune our husband Kalia has that he received the marks of Govinda's lotus feet. Tavangri renu sparashadhikara. Yadvanchaya shrir lalana charattapo vihaya kaman suchiram dridavrata. Lakshmi Devi, who is your eternal associate, suchiram, for a long, long time, dridavrata, she is doing a vrat. But she did not. Yad vanchaya, Shri Devi, Lakshmi Devi is desiring the sparsha of your lotus feet, but she never received. And Kalia received. So why Kalia received? Kalia received the footprints of Krishna, and Lakshmi Devi did not receive the association of Krishna. What is the difference? Because Kalia was prayed for by the Kalia Patnis. He has a recommendation letter. Somebody has signed a recommendation. No, I know he's not a good boy. I know he's not a good husband. I know he has a lot of envy for your devotees, but he's our husband. Please accept him. So Krishna gave Sparshadhikar to Kalia, but not to Sri Devi or Lakshmi Devi. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is mentioning this to Venkata Bhatta. So can you imagine the position of the gopis, that the gopis are greater than the Vedic scriptures. And the Vedic scriptures want to become gopis to associate with Krishna. So are the gopis ordinary? No. The gopis are the most exalted personalities. So in Gopi Geet, these are the different words that they use. They say, because of your presence here in Vrindavan, Lakshmi Devi is here, Indira. Says, Nakhalu Gopika Nandano Bhavan Akhila Dehinam Antaratmatre Vikhana Sarthito Vishwaguptaye Sakhau Deivan Satvatam Kule. So this another is saying, न खलु गोपिका, यशोदा के बेटे नहीं हैं आप, न खलु गोपिका नंदनो भवान. फिर आप कौन है? अखिल देही नाम अंतरात्म दृक्. You are the Paramatma in everyone's heart. And why did you appear in Vrindavan? Vikhana Sarthito. Brahmaji prayed on behalf of Bhumi Devi at the beginning of the 10th canto. That's why you Vishwa Guptaye. To protect the world you appeared. Sakha Udayivan. The sun rises. तो वैसे आप सात्वत कुल में आपका उदय हुआ है. Now the gopi is foolish. Gopis know everything about Krishna. He is Paramatma. Then they say, your hands hold the hands of the goddess of fortune. Can you touch those hands on our head? Can you give us blessings? So they know he is the husband of the goddess of fortune. Vraja Janarti Han Veera Yoshitam. Vraja Janarti Han means you destroy the pain of the Vrajavasis. So many times when the friends of Krishna went to their homes and said, today Krishna killed this demon. Today Krishna killed that demon. Then the fathers of all those Gopas said, Krishna, how can Krishna kill? He's afraid of lightning. We don't accept this. And many of the Gopas, along with Nanda Maharaj, they would have a baitak in the evening and they would say, actually it must be Lord Narayan who is subtly present around Krishna. Because Garga Muni mentioned this. So whenever there is a apatti on Krishna, then Narayan loves Krishna, so Narayan protects Krishna. So they never accept it. But the Gopis are saying, you are the destroyer of the distress of the Vrajavasis. Pranata Dehinam Papakarshanam. Pranata Dehinam Papakarshanam means those who take shelter of you, their papa is destroyed. So they know a lot of philosophy. Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavi Bhiriditam Kalmashapaham. Your Leela, your pastimes, they are Tapta Jivanam. Ordinary conditioned souls who are leading their lives in Samsara Davanal, there is only one mercy for them, discussing your pastimes. And he says, Kavi Bhiriditam, the great sages, they worship these pastimes, Kalmashapaham, and all sins are destroyed by Shravana Mangalam. Yes. And Pranata Kamadam Padmajarchitam. Pranata Kamadam, those who worship Krishna, they get their spiritual desires fulfilled. And Padmajarchitam. Padmaja means Brahmaji. You are worshipped by Lord Brahma. And then the last reference is your chest is the resting place of goddess of fortune. So we can see how the gopis are looking very ordinary, but they know all the philosophy. They know he's the goddess of fortune. They know he is worshipped by Brahma. They know if you surrender to him, your papa goes away. But still, their relationship with Krishna is never on the Aishwarya mood. How is it? Their purity of service attitude, every breath that they take is only for the pleasure of Krishna, and the proximity internally that they have for Krishna, not physical proximity, is such that whatever knowledge they have, philosophical knowledge they have, is overpowered by Madhurya. The knowledge of Aishwarya that they have is overpowered by Madhurya. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati would say, when a Bhajananandi becomes a preacher, he becomes the best preacher. So the preacher is called Goshthanandi. And somebody who does not preach but is just interested in bhajan is called Bhajananandi. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati would say, the Bhajananandi, when he preaches, he becomes the best Goshthanandi. So the Vraja Gopikas, they are actually Bhajananandis. But how did they preach? Actually, Uddhav, when he brought the letter of Krishna to Vrindavan, and I told you how about the Brahmar Gita, so all the gopis and all the Sakhis and Radharani, they are transcendentally mad. And they are not able to understand how to deal with the situation. Krishna was here, Krishna has left. And in that letter, even Lord Balram also and Uddhav also, they say, actually Krishna is the Paramatma in everyone's heart. So if you go inside, you can meet Krishna in the heart. And this philosophy, the gopis hear, but because their love is overpowered by Madhurya, they cannot understand it. And they say, don't tell us all this philosophy about Paramatma. Actually, our heart is burning in separation from Krishna. So Uddhava saw that. And later, so before this incident, when Uddhava came to Vrindavan, when Krishna was in Mathura, the first day, then Trivakra approached Krishna. And that time, Trivakra invited Krishna to her home at evening time. And so Uddhav was also there. So Uddhav saw when they went to Trivakra's home, Kubja's home, how Trivakra had decorated all her home with different figures and different paintings, because she made that whole arrangement to please Krishna. Krishna will come in the evening time and he should get a favorable atmosphere to associate with me. So Uddhava had seen that. And after that, when he's carrying a letter to the Vraj Gopis and he's seeing how these Vraj Gopis are so much in anxiety and so much in anticipation, so he learned that the Vraj Gopis are on the highest platform of Sambhoga, although externally they are in Vipralamba. Physically separate, but internally they cannot accept any jnana. They are on the highest platform of prema. And why am I speaking this? Because later, when Krishna left this planet, then Uddhava was there and Maitreya Muni was there. And when Vidura comes in the third canto, when he comes to meet Uddhava, he says, can you tell me what happened when Krishna left this planet? So Uddhava learned from the gopis that in Vipralamba, you don't cry, but you go internally and you feel the presence of Krishna in your heart. That's how Radharani and that's how all the Vrajvasis led their whole lives. So if you read the third canto, first chapter and the second chapter, Uddhava, when he's asked by Vidur, what did Krishna do in the last hours of his presence on the planet? Uddhava goes into a trance for one muhurta. So 48 minutes, just by the question of Vidura to Uddhava, what happened to Krishna during the last part of his presence on the planet? He goes into a trance, and then after coming out of the trance, in deep remembrance of Krishna, he summarizes Krishna Leela. He summarizes the main incidents from Krishna Leela. So that's like an introduction to the 10th canto in the third canto, first chapter and the second chapter. So at least the Vraj Gopis, they knew that Krishna has left Vrindavan, but Krishna is in nearby Mathura. They know he's there. Now one day he'll come. So they are experiencing Vipralamba. But in that Vipralamba, remembering Krishna, remembering the activities, the association they had with Krishna, they are in Sambandha, in Sambhoga. What about Uddhava? The gopis at least knew that Krishna is in Mathura, but Uddhava knows Krishna is no longer on the planet. Can you imagine how difficult it is for Uddhava? There is no hope of seeing Krishna. At least the gopis have a hope of seeing Krishna. Krishna has already left the planet, but Uddhava learnt from the unintentional teachings of the gopis. So when the Bhajananandis become preachers, they become the best Goshtanandis. The gopis, they never gave a Bhagavatam class. But the way they led their lives, the absorption that they have in Krishna Leela was seen by Uddhava when he carried the letter, and that absorption helped him when Vidur is asking him questions and he went into a trance, and that's how he became a very good student of the gopis. So the gopis look very ordinary, they know all the tattva, they are the best preachers, and it is we who are dependent on the blessings of the gopis, on the blessings of Srimati Radharani. Did Lord Ramchandra kill demons? Probably yes. Okay. Did Lord Krishna kill demons? Yes. Did Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu kill demons? It's very interesting. So who is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? It is Srimati Radharani's mood, but the person is Krishna. So Krishna says, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. Lord Ramchandra killed so many demons. Khar and Dushan, he killed alone with 14,000 of their soldiers. In Panchavati, the first attack, Lord Ramchandra is a brave warrior. He's killing all of them. The same Ram, the same Krishna. Jai Gaur, Sei Krishna, Sei Jagannath. So that same Lord Ramchandra was a fierce warrior. The same Krishna who says, Vinashaya cha dushkritam, when he accepts the mood of Kripa Shakti, Srimati Radharani, in all the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he did not kill a single demon. I'll speak of two instances. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was wandering in South India, at one point of time, he met a Buddhist monk. And this Buddhist monk, they had some discussion, and this Buddhist monk understood that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is defeating him in the discussion, in the philosophy. Because Buddhism is about tarkavad. You have to argue. So he understood Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is destroying me in the philosophy. So he said, okay, no problem. I want to feed you something. So he arranged for some meat to feed to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He wants to contaminate Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vaishnavas, they don't take meat. They don't even take many other abominable substances. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is fed meat as a prasad. This is there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is trusting. He's saying, oh, ye bhi sadhu hai. Main bhi sadhu hoon. I am also a sannyasi. He is also a sannyasi. So should I doubt about the food? But that Buddhist monk wanted to contaminate Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And as he was doing that, from somewhere a Garuda came. And this Garuda bird, first he knocked the plate from the hands of this Buddhist monk. And all the meat, it fell down. And that plate was carried by Garuda high up in the air. And at the right time, at the right place, in the right way, Garuda dropped the plate. So it was a heavy plate. And that heavy plate fell on the neck of the Buddhist monk. And what happened to that Buddhist monk? He fell down on the floor and he died. Yes? And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was saved from being contaminated. But what happened next is, the disciples of that Buddhist monk, they gathered together and they were weeping. And they were saying, our leader got killed. Obviously, the blame did not come on Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so the Garuda did that. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna in the mood of Srimati Radharani. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he told all the followers of that Buddhist monk, please chant Hare Krishna in the ears of your Guru. So the Guru, the Buddhist Guru, had initiated the disciples, but in the absence of the Guru, then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu initiated disciples. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu initiated disciples, and he told them, now you initiate your Guru in Vaishnavism. And so the Buddhist disciples, because they loved their Guru and they could not tolerate that our Guru got killed, they chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in the ears of the Buddhist Guru, who was envious of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what happened? The departed Buddhist monk who was envious of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who wanted to contaminate him and who made an attempt and already received his karma from Garuda, from a pure devotee, that Buddhist monk got up and started chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the same Krishna Vinashaya Cha Dushkritam, deals in Chaitanya Leela. In Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's case, he had a son-in-law called Amogha. And this Amogha was a super envious person. And when he saw Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taking prasad, because Shathira Mata, the wife of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, had prepared a big, huge feast for Lord Chaitanya. So their love for the sannyasi. And she is feeding and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is feeding. What happened to Amogha? Why is he getting envious? He's saying, बाप रे, ये कितना लोगों का खाना एक सन्यासी खा रहा है, वो खिला रहा है, ये खा रहा है, आपका क्या तकलीफ है? So he said that, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya took a stick and ran behind Amogha to beat him up, and Amogha ran away, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya came and fell at the feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and said, please forgive me, my son-in-law is such a rascal. And Shathir Mata, the mother-in-law of that Amogha, started praying, let my daughter become a widow. But we don't want to insult Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at our home. And when this is happening, what happens to Amogha? He gets cholera. And in 2 days, healthy Amogha is fit for death. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu after 2 days asked, अरे वो Amogha दिख नहीं रहा है, उस दिन सार्वभौम भट्टाचार्य उसके पीछे भागे उसको मारने के लिए, बाद में क्या हुआ? And Gopinath Acharya mentions, he is on deathbed and he can leave any time. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami mentions, this person who had insulted Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you can read, he ran to the home of Amogha and he placed his hand on the chest of Amogha and he said, Sahaja Nirmala Ei Brahmana Hidaya Matsarya Chandali Vasite Yogya Sthana Noye. He says, you are a Brahman, you are a devotee's son-in-law, don't keep envy in your heart. Rise, Amogha, chant the holy names, give up envy, and from today onwards you'll be a devotee. And Amogha, who was going to die, stands up and starts chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. So, when Kripa Shakti Sita was with Ram, Shurpanakha got saved. When Kripa Shakti was not with Ram, Ravan got killed. Shishupal got killed. Everyone else got killed by Krishna. But when that same Ram and same Krishna come in the mood of Srimati Radharani, not only they are not dead, even the internal demons are not, they are cleaned in one sense and they are given pure devotional service. So this is the mercy of Srimati Radharani that has come to us in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings. We are so fortunate to have Srila Prabhupada here. His father prayed to Srimati Radharani and he's carrying the mercy of Srimati Radharani. And Bhadra Purnima is coming. There's a request from the temple management. If any one of you does not have the Srimad Bhagavatam is containing the glorification of Sri Krishna. What does Radharani do? Radharani always glorifies Krishna, is it not? So Srimati Radharani will be very happy if we do not have the Srimad Bhagavatam, and Srimad Bhagavatam is available at a concessional rate. So on the most auspicious occasion of Radha Ashtami, we request you, if possible, if you can afford it, please take home Srimad Bhagavatam and distribute the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, distribute the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, distribute the mercy of Kripa Shakti everywhere and anywhere. Thank you so much. I'll just make this last announcements and then we'll stop, and then we have Maha Abhishek. Today's Bhagavata Seva, which includes entire day's Bhoga, Aarti and flower offerings to their lordships, is sponsored by the following devotees. Her Grace Vraja Devi Priya Mataji, seeking blessings. Mr. Sanjeev and Mrs. Deepika Shroff, seeking blessings. And Vasundhara Bhosle Mataji, seeking blessings. Let us offer our gratitude to these devotees by loudly chanting 3 times, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Also, today's Preeti Bhoj Seva, which includes the entire day's prasad for the devotees, is sponsored by Jayanti Purohit Prabhu from Marwadi Vaishnav Samaj, seeking blessings. Let us express our gratitude to this devotee also by loudly chanting 3 times, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So thank you all so much. I am grateful to all of you for giving a patient listening and giving me a chance to glorify Srimati Radharani. Jai Srimati Radharani ki Jai. Jai Shri Radhashtami Mahamotsav ki. So a devotee who will be representing the Bhadra Purnima campaign will be standing near the guest reception area on the ground floor. So during the prasadam or something, please meet him and get more details about the Bhadra Purnima campaign. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki Jai. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.